Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. It makes me really happy to see you guys all here. So thank you for giving up your Monday night. It doesn't go unappreciated at all. So your booklets, some of you might have seen these already, but it's just some information in there, a little bit which we're going over tonight. And there's some notes at the back if you want to take, like, oh, that's a good idea, or hadn't thought of that. You can write that in there, or do whatever you like to it. We are recording it just for the people that can't make it, because so they don't miss out. So I'm not that professional. Someone said I look professional, but I'm not. Anyway, so I'm Jackie, for those who haven't met me, but I think I've met most of you. And yeah, I just want to share with you guys tonight some stuff about mentoring. So I'll just quickly open in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for your love for us and your love for your children. I thank you that you want to partner with us to love others and to show them and to guide them in their walk with you. And I thank you that we get the chance to do that. And I pray that you would help us tonight to learn more about how we can better serve you in that way. And I pray that you'd help us to understand your truth in this. In Jesus' name, amen. Awesome. So, bear with me. This is scary for me, but that's okay. Thank you. So, awesome. So tonight I'm going to go back and forth between the words mentoring and discipleship. To me, they're one and the same, but discipleship is obviously a thing that we're very passionate about at BBC. So that's a really great way to describe things. But mentor and mentee is a great way to describe mentor and mentee rather than discipler and disciplee. It's just less functional. So yeah, don't get confused if I swap between them. But a disciple is a follower of Jesus who is being transformed by him and is committed to his mission. So as people that are discipling others, all we're trying to do is to help our mentee become a better disciple as we disciple them. And I think that's a beautiful picture. So by now you've hopefully seen the side-by-side logo. This is a really powerful picture for me. I'll go into more about my passion behind this program or initiative, but pretty much some of you as the person in the middle, you are being mentored and you are mentoring someone else. And the idea is that we all pursue this relationship with others where we can be fully locked in. We'll be able to have someone that's supporting them and someone they are supporting us. I think that's such a healthy way to do relationships where we are being challenged to help someone and we're also being supported ourselves. So yeah, that's what the little pluses are for, I guess. So this whole idea started for me last Christmas. I just finished up leading youth group for 6 years and I was like, God, what do you want me to do next? I'm kind of a bit I've got no idea. And I was talking to my sister-in-law, and she has a 12-year-old daughter, and she was telling me how, whilst they have a great relationship and they like each other well enough, her daughter was kind of slipping away in terms of what mattered in life. If she wanted to bring up a conversation about God or friendships or the deeper stuff, her daughter would just change the subject off the bat. And as a person myself, I know that's what I do. Sorry, Mum. I didn't love talking about deep stuff, especially with my family. And as a youth leader, I saw all these young people going through, realising that I couldn't help all of them. I had 10, 20 kids to look out for. I couldn't help all of them, and I was expecting their parents to. But as we all know, that's one rare kind of thing to find. So as my sister-in-law was telling me this, I was like, I need to do something about this. I can't just assume people are going to find people to connect with. I can't let people slip through the gaps. And so Side by Side was about finding people, because in our church, it's a great church, I love it, but it's so big. And so the young adults, for example, are quite separated from the older people, and the youth again. And so I was like, people don't know who to ask to be their mentor. People don't know who to mentor. Side by Side was really just about nothing fancy, but just connecting those dots and connecting those people together so that they could find someone to get supported by and to support. So that's that. I'm just going to have a quick drink. So I guess I want to define, what a side-by-side relationship actually looks like. So for me, it's a discipleship is an ongoing and intentional conversation and relationship that empowers a person to fully live out God's calling. So there's a few key words in there. Ongoing and intentional, I really, really, really believe strongly in. We can have good friends and we can have great people that are inputting into our lives, but it's a powerful thing to have someone who is really intentionally being for you all the time, and that is ongoing. So I really want to encourage those into your relationships, but I'll go more into that in a moment. To fully live out God's calling. That one's obvious. That is our goal. Life on earth is is nothing without God. And so our role, I guess, is to help each other to find that and to pursue that. So these are some cute little words that I think that a side-by-side relationship is really great to have. Because I really believe God has ordained each of these relationships that you guys are in. And I can't wait to see how he uses you in those relationships. And so the first thing I wanted to discuss was consistency. To have something very regular and consistent is absolutely key. I've been mentored a lot throughout my teenage and young adult years, which I'm so blessed for, but I've seen a multiple of different relationships and how they work. And so, for example, one of them was every single week, some of them have been every 2 weeks, and some of them have been haphazard, like once a month, once every 2 weeks, once a week, and they just go all over the place. And what I found is the one that was quite haphazard, you would catch up here, have a really great conversation, and then you'd wait a month or two, and then you'd have to start from scratch again. You'd have to rebuild, and every single time you caught up, you were just catching up rather than getting into the deep stuff. So that's why I want to encourage something that's really consistent in that. If you can spare 1 hour every week or two to have that ongoing, then that's going to be such a powerful tool, because you'll really be able to get into the deeper stuff of life rather than just flitting along the surface and no one really gets helped. And the next one I really love is prayerful. We are nothing without God, and we are nothing without using him with us. And so I just want to encourage you guys to be prayerful. This is involved in not only praying with your mentor when you catch up, this could be at the start or at the end or during it or all the time, who really cares, but being prayerful in that, but also being prayerful throughout the week. So you are their prayer warrior. They, as they're tackling life and trying to do life with God, you are behind them, cheering them on, praying for them throughout the weeks, throughout the times you're not seeing them, and letting them know you're praying for them. Like, oh, I know you've got a hard exam this week, I'll pray for you. Or I know you're going through this at the moment, I'm praying for you. Just really being intentional in that. The next main one is listening. I'm going to go into this a bit more because it's something I really believe in, but we don't have to have all the answers. I know a lot of people don't think they do, and that is more than fine. We are there to listen. This world has got enough things going into us, so your mentee is going to have so many voices telling them what to do and telling them what to think, but they don't have anyone to listen to them and help them to think through what's going through their mind. And so that's something that I think is really powerful and to not forget. Obviously, loving should be the top of it all, because when we're loving, all of these things come naturally. So we have been loved by God, so it's our role to love others. And so if you are just unconditionally, that's what I'm looking for, loving your mentee, then that's going to be such a powerful thing. They need to know that you won't judge them no matter what. They need to know that you love them in every single season of their life. And it can be for your time you're mentoring them or forever. Obviously, forever's nice, but you're not going to know them forever, so that's... Yep. This really is a powerful one for me, because my mentor, one day I was struggling to even understand how much God loved me, and she literally said to me, I'm going to cry. Oh, nope, I said it, now I'm going to do it, hold on. I practiced this and I didn't cry, so I should be fine. Even if you were to kill one of my children, I would still love you. And I was like, what? That's not a thing. How could you feel that towards me? And that really showed me how much, it was a picture to me of how much God loved me. And that really changed how I felt. And it made me know that nothing I could do, none of my mistakes, none of my doubts, nothing could separate me from the love that she had for me, let alone God. Anyway, next point. And the last one I want to talk about is just cheerleader. You are their cheerleader. No matter what's going on in life, you're just being there for them. You're telling them, you're just saying, I love you, I support you, what you're going through this week, I'm there for you, I'm thinking of you, I'm praying for you, I'm there for you. And I think that's just really nice for each of us and each of your mentees to have someone that just loves them and cheers them on. Something that I've heard a lot as I've been pulling this whole thing together is, from mentors, I have nothing to offer. And this really grinds my gears a little bit, because it's such a lie. It's such a lie from the devil, because he knows that community and relationship is impeccably important, and he is doing anything he can to stop that. And I've spoken to so many adults that say, I don't know what I'd say, I don't know if I have anything to offer, I can't do anything. But Everyone has something to offer, no matter where you are on your journey. If you've been with Jesus for one day, you have something to offer the person who's been with Jesus for less than one day. You may be in a different space spiritually, emotionally, in your walk with God, but wherever you are, you have something to offer. And I just really, really need people to know that. And as I said, you don't need to have all the answers. It's not about that at all. If we have all the answers, we think that we know it all, and we don't leave any room for God, or we don't leave any room for them to listen because we think we're so great. So to almost be in a space of not thinking that we know it all is better. It's a space where we can allow God to work through us and use us in a way that we're not too sure about. I was actually talking to a girl just yesterday, and she was in a small group, and her small group asked her a curly question, and she's like, I've never thought about this. I don't know the answer. What do I say? And the Holy Spirit just gave her the answer. She told me what the answer was. I was like, I've researched this and that's exactly right. And she had no idea. She was only been a Christian for a few years. And I was like, that's really powerful because God can use us no matter where we are as long as we're open. And to limit God and to doubt God in that is almost... I'm not going to say it, but it's not what he wants for us. He knows he has so much for us, and every time that we pull back from what he has for us, we're saying, I don't trust you. I don't think you can use me. I don't think you're powerful enough, and that's not a space I ever want to be in. And so, yeah, I just want to encourage you guys that you all have something to offer, no matter where you are, because as we know, there's no fear in love, and God is love, and we have God inside us. Awesome. So, what is next? Oh, there's cakes. So, I want to encourage you guys, every single mentoring relationship is going to look different. Your aim is to disciple that person. Discipleship in this metaphor is a cake. Your mentee may be raspberries, and you may be white chocolate. You come together, you make a white chocolate cake. Still a cake, white chocolate cake, delicious, lovely. Your friend over here might be walnuts, and their mentee might be banana. Put them together, walnut banana cake. Brilliant, but different from the raspberry chocolate cake. So your mentee is going to... It'll differ on how many times you catch up. It'll differ on if you study the word or you just chat together. It'll differ if you walk around a lake or you just sit and have really intense conversations. Whatever that is fine. It's whatever you and your mentee need and whatever they have asked and whatever you preferably feel like will be best for them. Yeah. And hopefully by now, most of you have had... I've got another one here. Being able to look through your booklet. I just wanted to quickly go through some things in there so you're not completely lost. But at the start, it really just goes over what this relationship will look like. But on page 7, I've given a list of places to go. Like, sometimes it's hard. You're like, oh, I don't know what to do with my mentee. I don't know, it'll be boring. But like, it's not too difficult. For me, one of my favourite things to do with my mentor is we'll go to the lake and walk around it. I find that is really non-intimidating because you're side by side and you're doing something. It's not too distracting, but it's not really intense. So that's one option. Obviously, you can get an ice cream because they are amazing. You could just sit at your kitchen table and chat. You could go to a coffee shop. You could do something that you find that you have in common, like playing golf if you're into that, and anything like that. So those are just a few tips. The next page has a ton of questions. So these questions you can obviously tailor. They're just ideas, but they'll help you get into the next level of conversation with your mentee. Obviously, we're all pretty decent at small talk, but to be able to move into that next step is just some really easy questions. Ask them just how have you been spending time with God lately, whether that's nothing or whether that's, oh, I'm reading this devotional or I'm listening to this music. It helps open the conversation of finding out where they are and what they need, I guess. So have a read through of them sometime and try a few out and chop them and change them how you need because not everyone's going to be the same, as per the cake. Another main question is why. If they say something, ask them why. Why do you feel that way? Why are you acting that way? Why does this trouble you? Why are you feeling distant from God? Any of those things, ask why. Don't just assume answers. That's something I do. I'm like, oh, this must be why you're feeling this. Here are all the answers. No, you can't do that. And yeah, so those are the two main things. And the rest of the booklet is just some techniques, I guess, or methods you could use. So we're going to go through a few of them tonight so that you kind of grasp them a lot easier. Awesome. So I get to the pleasure of going through with you. Oh, I didn't bring it. The book right here. It's called The Coach Model. And it changed the way I mentor. So I was mentoring a girl last year and she was having all sorts of problems. She was really struggling with her relationship with God and doing the right things and getting pulled back into her old self, I guess. And I was giving her some brilliant advice. I'd gone through something similar. I was like, yes, this is what you need. These are some Bible verses. Like, I know exactly what's wrong and I'm going to help you. And she was like, yes, Jackie, thank you. I love this. You're the best. And she'd go away and I'd be like, yes, I'm the best mentor. And then she'd come back the next week in a worse hole than what she was before she started. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? And then I read this book and it showed me that questions are so much more powerful than my answers could ever be. Questions direct them to find their own answer. So that's kind of what I want to chat about in this, and I hope that whether you use the whole lot or just take snippets from it, I think it's a really helpful tool. It's mainly for if your mentee is going through something or working through a problem and you can help them find the solution that works best for them. So whether it's a relationship issue, whether it's spending time with God issue, whether it's a horrible essay they need to write, whatever it is. So it has 5 parts, starts with connect, then outcome, awareness, course, and highlights. So just remember that as we go. But I have something to hand out. I almost forgot. Hold tight. Oh, that's not it. Where are they? Was anything sitting on the chairs just here when you guys got here?
No.
Oh, where did I put them? Why do I have a shocking memory? Oh, it's probably up front. Sorry, did someone answer that?
It's not on the computer.
No?
It's not on a printer.
Maybe? Anyway, I'll give it to you in a moment. It's just this, and it kind of goes through each of the parts that I'll be talking about. So, the first one is connect. So this is a real easy one. Simple, easy. Obviously, we want easy to start with. This is just starting a conversation on a personal note. There's no need to jump into, so how is your life with God? Do you love him or not? It goes into more, hey. The day's handing these out, so feel free to grab one. We'll find out if it's spares. Everyone got one? Yep, you guys have got one. Fabulous. I think they're all good. Awesome. So, as I said, the first one is connect, which you guys will see in your handout. So yeah, it's just simple. Just to start your conversation with small talk, ask them how their week's been. The benefit of this is that they get the mundane stuff off their chest. Like if they've had a funny exam or they lost their shoe yesterday, whatever, you can just chat about that and get that off their chest and work out if there is anything you need to talk about later. But yeah, don't forget the small talk, but also don't stay on the small talk. But the good thing that what's the word? Is that the word? Anyway, it builds trust. And so trust is really, really important when you've got this relationship. They need to be able to trust you and know that you have their back. So ways to help build trust is to support them rather than to control them. It is to encourage their ideas, not pushing your own or pushing your own agenda. It's to give them responsibility rather than doing everything for them. It's to process decisions with them rather than doing that for them. And it's not trying to fix them, but believing in them and knowing that they have the power to do what they want. And it's also honouring your appointments and confidentiality, which are pretty obvious. These two are laughing. Did you not do that this week? Did you let her know?
We had an appointment this morning, but then my daughter's car broke down and I had to wait for the tow truck.
That's a very good excuse though. That one's fine, guys. Awesome. So we're coming back to a second point from the connect stage in a moment, but I'll come back to that at the end. So the next one is outcome. This is the second most important one in my eyes. Yeah, it's a movie. It's working out what they want. I know that when I look at a person, I'm like, I know what you need and I'm going to help you get there. That's not the way to do it. The way is to ask them what they want. Sometimes they're not going to know, so you can have to help them to work that out. But You need to be able to create intentionality in conversation by talking about what they hope the outcome will be. So in that section, I've got a few questions that you can ask. They're a bit stagnant, so you can relax them a little bit. But overall, like, what result would you like? What would make today's conversation meaningful for you? And what would achieving that look like for you? So these, just finding out what they need. And that's just really important. So just ask questions again, and asking questions and helping them to own what they want to get out of it is going to give them so much ownership that they will be able to then take that and actually do something with that rather than just you telling them what to do. So ownership is so important with this. So make sure that you are giving them and empowering them in that. I think that's everything for that one. Best thing, Matthew 20, Jesus is chilling with some blind men, and he says to them, obviously you'd think a blind man wants healing, but Jesus said, what do you want? And they're like, to be healed. And so he heals them. But it's like, he asked them what they wanted, even though it was ridiculously obvious. I just felt like, why did Jesus do that? And maybe it's for a similar reason that we might do this. Next one is awareness. So just like this little picture has the little square, rectangle, square, triangle and circle, we need to help our mentees see their situation from different perspectives. So we need to ask questions and help that to happen for them to find their own solutions. A quote from Galileo Galilei says, "You cannot teach a man anything, you can only help him find the answers within himself." And again, that goes back to the whole thing of asking questions, not giving answers. If they're not coming with their own answers, as with my mentor from last year, they're not understanding and they're not owning those. And so to ask questions to help them to find their answers and look at it from a different perspective. So if they're having a problem with a relationship, you can say, how have you dealt with this in the past? Were you happy with that or were you not? How are you feeling about this? Why is it hurting you? How do you reckon they're feeling and why are they acting like this? Just asking these little questions to help them to think about their situation, because I know for me, if something happens to me, I will throw a little pity party over here and I won't think about any other options. So to help your mentees step them through those different things is really powerful. And then help them maybe find some directional answers. So rather than saying, I know this really good person that might be able to help you because if they're having trouble writing essays, for example, my friend's really good at writing essays, they can get you onto each other. Say, do you know anyone that could help you? And then even little things. But the real important thing here, which I find difficult, is not to lead them, not to lead conversation and manipulate the conversation to get the answer that you want. So don't ask questions because you want a specific answer. Ask them with the intent of them finding the answer. I think that's really powerful. A step I've also forgotten the awareness stage is, it's not the awareness stage, the outcome stage. Only get the amount of information that you need. If someone's having this big kerfuffle with someone and you're like, this sounds juicy and gossipy, I'll get all the information I can. No, we are there to find the amount of information that we need to help them. We don't need to pry any more than's necessary. I find that one challenging myself as well, to make sure that, the reason I'm talking to you is to help you. You know all the information, I don't need to know it all. This is a random one. So the idea from awareness is to lead them to their own answers and to help step them through that. Does anyone have any questions on that one? Just to make sure, understanding it. Awesome. So obviously the key is open-ended questions. I find this a challenge because I always want to make people feel comfortable and water things down, and watered down questions are yes-no questions. And so don't be afraid of asking the big questions. Your mentee has given you permission to get real. And if you're not getting real, you're doing them a disservice. So ask them the open questions, ask them the real questions, ask them the potentially offensive questions that they haven't given anyone else permission to ask them, because that's where it's really going to be powerful. The last one, second last one, is course. So this is the real easy one. It's helping them to find the goals to put legs on what they've just learnt and just become aware of. So if they're having trouble with a relationship with their mum, then you can say, how are you going to help this in the future? What are we going to do this week to help this situation? So obviously we all know the acronym for goals. Sorry if it's not an acronym. The SMART goals. So something that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time limited. You want to have these goals as something that they can accomplish between now and your next catch up. Don't do massive goals. break them down. Even if it's like they're going to write an essay this week, don't just say, you must write an essay this week. Say, you're going to allocate an hour to this and you're going to turn on your computer, well done you. Then you're going to find 3 references and then you like break it down for them, because we all know what the big goals are, but sometimes we have trouble breaking them down into something that's actually achievable and manageable and not ridiculously daunting. So that's what we're there to help them with. And again, we're not giving them the answers, we're asking them, how will you be able to achieve this? What are the steps you think this could look like? A big one to ask is, what will this look like when you've completed this goal? Help them to visualize what, like if they fix their relationship with their mum, what will that look like for them? Help them to give them some motivation to completing their goals. Yeah. That's the main one. Also, there's heaps more information in the booklet if you need it. The last one is highlights. So I don't know about you, but hopefully in this conversation it's going to be the same, but you listen to something or you talk about something, you go away and you forget it. So this point is really just asking them, what'd you get out of it? What do you want to remember from our conversation today? And what's really beautiful about that is often they'll grab random bits that you won't even have found relevant. They'll be like, oh, I really loved when you said that, or I really loved when we worked this out. And you're like, I remember that, but I'm really cool, that stuck with you. It's also a very clever way to work out if you've been helping them. It's a great kind of feedback for you to be like, oh yeah, it was fine, I got nothing really out of it though. You can be like, cool, let's learn for next time, Jackie. Work on that. The last really cool thing about this step is it wraps up the conversation. If you need to go, you can be like, so what did you get out of the conversation today? Not in a mean way, but just in a really practical way to kind of help tie things up and really beautify them together, because it really helps them. Plus goals, I forgot, go back a step, write them down. No one's going to remember any of these goals if you don't write them down, including me as the mentor. I'll go to be like, oh, so your goals, how'd you go? I forgot what they were, when you come back to it next week. So make sure that you are writing them down and they are writing them down, and you can both be accountable to that. The last one, which is the start one, is follow-up. So at the start of your conversation the next week, after you've done this the first week, then you follow up with them in the small talk section. How have you gone? How'd your goals go? Did you achieve them? No, don't ask, did you achieve them? The best way to say that is, what progress did you make? That doesn't imply failure if they didn't do it all. That implies success if they did one little thing. And I think that's really powerful, because we don't want to ever be judging them or making them feel bad or condemning them. We are there to encourage them and uplift them and show them God's love and his encouragement to them. So making sure that when you do that, say, what progress did you make? How did you feel you went? And then if they need some more help, make some more goals. Yeah, awesome. Does that make sense? I think so. Cool. So that's really the coach model in essence, but really just ask questions, be there and help them to do that, to really process their thoughts externally, because it can be really powerful. I think that's mostly of what I wanted to say, but I'm going to get Dave up now and he's going to go through another awesome method for chatting with your mentee, and hopefully between both of these that you can really feel really equipped. Yeah.
Hey, why don't we put our hands together for Jackie? She's done a great job. You've explained that super well. I'm very impressed. There's a lot of great stuff in there, isn't there, when it comes to... it's going to be hard. I'll be back there thinking, I've got a hard gig to follow here. So, and thank you for that, Jackie. I mean, one of the things that stood out to me in that conversation was the importance of the relational environment. I mean, if we're going to be great at mentoring somebody else, discipling somebody else, and in the context of all that, we've obviously got to be in relationship with that person, don't we? And that's a real privilege that we get invited into being with other people in that space, starting a conversation. And so what Jackie just shared with you, the coach model, is just one of those tools. And what I want to share with you, I'm going to invite Dave to come in just a moment, and we're going to share with you, just kind of model to you a little bit about the 4 spheres that you can see on this TV. You've got it in your books as well too. One of the great things about what we're trying to do tonight is we're actually trying to give you tools for your toolbox. That's what we're trying to do. Because often, and Jackie mentioned that, people will say, I don't know what to do. How do I mentor somebody? Or how do I disciple somebody? Where do you start in all of that? And often what that is for us is that intuitively we often know what to do. We just need some guidance and all of that. But what we're kind of giving to you is some really simple, great tools that you can kind of take away and go, oh, I can do that. We can all do that. And Jackie's right, you know, you've only just got to be a little bit further down the track, the person that you're with, to actually help and encourage them in their conversations as well too. So one of the things that we want to model to you tonight, and this is something that we do as a staff team here, Church Council does this as well. As a staff team, we do this every Monday. For 30 minutes from 10 o'clock to 10:30, we break into pairs and we actually model the 4 spheres together in our conversations. Conversations that are very simple, that just sit in the space of either we might push into a conversation around our relationship with God, or it could be our relationships with our family, relationships with not our immediate family, but the church family, or that in particular environment, or the community or the world in which we work in. So 4 particular spheres. And the conversations are just very natural, and it's very quick and easy to kind of go into that space. And if you're with the person that you've got and they're not quite so sure, but they're looking for somebody to speak into their life, one of the great ways to start a conversation often is just like this. And so I'm going to invite Dave. Dave's on our church council, and he's going to grab his chair. I'm just going to grab this chair. And we're going to just sit here and relax for a second, just have a very simple conversation for just a few moments together to just model to you what that looks like. And Dave and I haven't really talked about this apart from me saying to him today, mate, can you join me in a conversation? So this is not scripted in any particular way. Dave and I, just so you know, I would call ourselves, this is not a mentoring or a discipling relationship, we're kind of co-labourers. So, you know, he loves the Lord, he's kind of up to it in his neck with me, we're kind of serving the Lord, but we sit in this relationship where we cheer one another on, but we can still use this. So you can use it in any kind of form of relationship you've got. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
Good. Good. Good to see you around on the weekend after you've been gone for a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a pretty full-on time, but
Yeah.
you know, it's we're getting back and sort of getting into the next phase of what we need to do to sort of push into where the future's going.
Man, we've missed you around here on Sundays. It's not the same when you're not here.
Yeah, well, I certainly miss being here too. It's I mean, I've been away doing what I had to do, but I certainly feel like I've been disconnected from family and place of belonging. So,
Mate, losing your dad and kind of walking that journey, that wouldn't be easy. That's kind of the last part of your family that's kind of gone now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Lost my parents, so it's it's a pretty full-on time, and I suppose just just realising that the family dynamics change too within that. That's another big aspect of that, and then it has implications that are ongoing too. So it's been a hard time, but it's been good that God's been right there with us and just stepping along with us, and prayer's been a big thing. But just having people praying for us, there's just numerous times through that last couple of weeks where just really sense that there's been people praying for us, and that covering of prayer, it's been really good. So it's good.
What do you think the key thing is that God's taught you over the last few weeks? It's kind of been like a 3-month journey for you, hasn't it? It's been long.
I suppose, I think probably just being able to rest in the fact that He's got it. He's got me, He's got the situation, and He's got Dawn and us in His hands. And at times, I lay awake at night quite often, and I just think to myself, I shouldn't be worrying about these things. God's got it. So I think really, for me, it's just the understanding that I just serve an incredible God, and He's got my back, and and just He constantly confirms that with just different things. Just come along and just says, "See, I've got it. It's okay." So that's been really neat to see, and just people and situations just been answered through that time. So So I suppose God's provision, His love, and He's just the fact that He's real and He's there. I think that's the biggest thing I've been learning through that time. But,
I've appreciated some of the stories you've shared in that journey as well too, and I've been encouraged just individually, just listening to the way that you've kind of responded and dealt with that as well too. So what God's teaching you, He kind of indirectly teaches others.
Well, you sort of think it's funny. I mean, in the sense even some of the time that we've spent together the last couple of months ourselves. But I think it's there again. It's just God cementing a relationship to help you through hard times too. So I think those things aren't coincidental. I think God's plan, just the way He orchestrates things and just prepares you and just gives you what you need to be able to go through a difficult time. And that solidifies your friendship and your relationship. It makes us closer, and it gives you the ability to be able to also push into other people because you've got strength and you know that there's someone who's got your back. So that's been pretty neat.
You were mentioning over the last couple of weeks that possibly you had to make some big decisions. Has been any clarity for you in that around what you think you're doing?
It's come pretty quick. I mean, there's some of that stuff that we sort of thought maybe would happening, but so really our whole life has been turned upside down and put on its head. So we've decided that we're going to pull up stumps for a couple of months, go down to Dad's and just settle up his affairs and get the property settled, ready for sale. So that's a massive thing. But there again, I mean, you talk about even within that, like with God's just been, you know, it's not something you do by yourself. I mean, obviously I'm a married man and I've got a wife and she has business and connection and community and everything else. So for her just to be ready too, that was another thing. It just, you know, Dawn just looked at me and said, maybe we should do this, you know. And I think that was the thing for me that I really thought, you know, okay, this is the right thing to do, because it was just that, you know, we had a sense that God was saying this was okay. There's doors that had opened for us to be able to go down there and do that. So, and then Dawn just saying, you know, maybe this is something we should do. I sort of, yeah, there again, you know, just being in a situation and being able to do that. So, yeah. And I suppose even, like I said, that journeying that we've done with some of that is just realising that God is big enough for a situation that I don't feel big enough for, but knowing that God's big enough in that. So that's probably another thing that's taken away some of that anxiety, I suppose, in doing that and just saying, yeah, let's do this. Yeah.
I'd appreciate you praying for me, for my family environment. I've got a family member that hasn't been talking to me for 12 months, and I think an opportunity is coming for me in the next couple of days to make a phone call. We've at least been texting, and I'm excited about that maybe there's an opportunity to kind of push into that.
I mean, yeah, and I've been praying for you in that too, Dave, because it's in the sense that you sit in a position where you have huge responsibilities, and at times it's probably hard for you to seem vulnerable. And I think, you know, that's one of the things I love about you, that, you know, you're an all-rounder, you sort of have it, you know, but the thing is, and I do know that you hurt with things like that, and at times probably being that leader, you probably feel that you've sort of got to be a little bit resilient, but, you know, that's the thing I suppose that's really good about our relationship, in the sense that you can open up and sort of be a little bit vulnerable, and I've really appreciated that. I haven't seen it in any way being weakness, but I've just seen a strength that, and just the beautiful relationship that we have to be able to know that we can pray into that situation and look for some future goals and outcomes with that. You know, that we'll just be praying into that to say, you know, let's be praying that relationship will just change and become something that once was. So.
That'd be really good. I'd appreciate you just praying for that one. And you know how I've been mentioning about, you know, just this, you know, often my world's in a bit of a bubble. And for me to move outside of that's a bit of a challenge at times, but my connection into the South Bendigo Footy Club and the relationships that I've kind of got there, I mean, that's a challenge at times, so I often feel like a bit of a shag on a rock there. You know, just trying to sit in a relational space where you're building relationships with guys who have no connection to me at all. And you know, I had a great conversation just the other day with a guy who was injured as well too. That was really encouraging to me. That just kind of reminded me that, you know, God's got me there, and I just need to kind of keep sitting in that place and just keep looking for opportunities that He provides there as well too. So.
And I think for you, it's probably, I mean, like you said, you are in a bubble in a sense that everything just pretty much revolves around ministry, and for you to get out and to rub shoulders with the community in that raw sense, you know, and they're probably pretty rough guys in some of them, you know. So to sit in that space is probably good for you. You know, that's just like Jesus, you know, walked around. He didn't just stay with the people in the synagogue. He got out with the people and tax collectors, and that's you know, and the wider community. I think so. For you, it's probably good. You're probably rubbing shoulders and talking with people that, you know, and having experiences and conversations that are very different to what you normally have, and that's pretty great for you as a pastor.
It's good for me.
So.
Hey mate, I realise our time's going to get away on us. We've spent a couple of hours here, and I've enjoyed the conversation. A couple of cups of coffee. What specifically can I be praying for you?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Look, just really pray that this next couple of weeks, we've got a couple of weeks to get the house all packed up and move out of that, and then also just get that stuff packed away and then to move down. So that's a big thing. So finish up a couple of jobs that we've got going. So, and just, I mean, obviously, you know, we've got a great small group, and just being pulled away from that and our wider church community to that. That'll be hard, but yeah, pray. There's some opportunities for us to do some stuff down there too already. There's been some connection. So be praying in both ends, you know, this end as we leave, and that end that, you know, that God will use us even in that short period of time just to encourage those guys down there. So be praying for us in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And mate, for me, I think just in that conversation I need to have in the next 24, 48 hours with a member of my family, and that won't be easy. Particularly when you feel like you haven't really done anything wrong in this situation and you kind of have been hung out there, but I need to do that. And then also for my knee. I end up now having to go to see a sports physio and just kind of see what's kind of going wrong with that, and it's kind of slowing me down, and I'm not so happy about that, so I'd appreciate you praying for that too. So
Absolutely.
it's good.
Good stuff.
Thanks, mate.
Good on you.
Here we go. Just a simple conversation. Now, I know Dave, and Dave and I have lots of different conversations together. But if you're meeting with somebody for the very first time, you've got 4 just very simple spheres that you can push into in terms of beginning that conversation with somebody. And as it begins to evolve, you can kind of go back to those same places. So the next week or the 2 weeks' time when you get back, say, hey, look, how did that go with that one particular thing that you mentioned was a real challenge for you? Did you end up finding a solution for that? I've been praying for you. And you might actually find that, it's not about trying to get through the whole 4 spheres in an hour-long conversation or an hour and a half. It's just they are a conversation starter for you that allows you then to kind of push into different places with that particular person that you're spending time with. So you might find you start in the middle with their relationship with Christ, and that will spark all kinds of things in terms of, hey, look, I've really been struggling with my devotional life and just feeling like I'm a bit dry with that. And again, if you are in that mentoree relationship, then again, as Jackie was saying, you're not there to suddenly provide all the solutions for them. You're just to be a listening ear. You might suggest a couple of things, but you're trying to help them work through that same process as well too, to work out, well, what do they think is the right outcome for them? And so you might find that you sit in that place. You might nudge into another area. Quite often you're not going to get through the whole 4 areas and there's just a prominent one that you want to sit in all the time. Or sorry, not all the time, but one that you keep coming back to regularly because that's a part of your conversation. So this is just a tool. I've been using it now for a couple of years. It's a great tool. It's a great place for sitting in conversations, for thinking about people. Often the person you're going to be with is maybe they're not as far in that journey that you might be as you're following after Jesus. Sometimes you might be on the same page as well too. Again, it's just helping you in that conversation to keep thinking about how can I help shape an environment that's conducive for this person to help them grow, to help them get the outcomes that they're looking for, and ultimately, in the end, you want to see them grow into full maturity in Christ. That's what your ultimate goal is. So, just another tool.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. So for the last 15 minutes, we're going to get to try it out. So we're going to jump in pairs. If your mentee, mentor person is here, feel free to join them. If not, pick a random. And just chat with them. Try to practice if you liked some of the things from the coach model, if you like some things from the 4 spheres, if you liked your own thing and want to make it up, whatever that is, practice some things that you've thought about tonight that you found that might be helpful, and give that a shot, and then we'll wrap it up and then you can go home. Awesome. So pair up. How did you guys find that? Really fun? Great. So to finish up, does anyone have any questions or comments or like anything about how it works or something confused you? Anything at all? Sweet. Awesome. If you do throughout the whole initiative have a question or you're confused about something or you're like, Jackie, how's that even working? What are you saying to me? Just message me and ask me, or call me and ask me, or email me and ask me. I'm more than happy to help. As you guys hopefully know, this is, I guess you guys are the pilot. You guys are the test run of something that I'm really passionate about anyway, to hopefully one day the whole church can be involved in. So I would love your guys' feedback, your ideas, your Jackie, that's not working, or that's really cool, thanks. So in a few months, we're going to send out a feedback form, so feel free to give me an honest opinion, but really nicely, because I'm sensitive. But no, I just wanted to say, like, from the bottom of my heart, I'm so thankful for each one of you. To take this on and to put yourself out there and to give up your time to love another human isn't always the easiest thing, but it is such a worthwhile thing, and I'm really appreciative that you guys have taken the time out of even your Monday night to spend it here, and I really pray that you've got something out of it. So feel free to keep looking over that booklet, writing notes and questions, and as I said, it's a cake. Do whatever you want with it as long as you end up with a cake. There's no right or wrong way, but just involve God in every single aspect and you can't really go wrong, to be honest. So thank you so much, and we're finished now, so you can go home.